What up? Um, Sam Garcia here, uh, architect in McAllen. Yesterday, I posted my first video that was to begin documenting this new journey that I'm on, including content creation and sort of filling out this life mapping thing that I did. And um, I wanted to introduce today's topic, which was basically using the life mapping tool in ChatGPT, or as it can work in ChatGPT, and just kind of cover that a little bit more in depth. There's a lot of resources out there, and that's where I got it from. It's certainly not an original idea that I came up with. But just to give you some background, about a year ago, more or less, when ChatGPT first gained popularity and it became something that people started to know about, I downloaded it or went to the website and kind of started playing with it and just using it as sort of a tool here and there to maybe help me write things or to come up with ideas or to create outlines. I've had to, for example, I'm the chairman of a museum board, and we have to do a quarterly newsletter, and we have to do I have to do a letter from the chairman, and I've used ChatGPT. I've said, okay, this is my name, this is the name of the museum. I need to write a quarterly newsletter. I want to hit these 3 points, and I want to make sure that we discuss this upcoming event. It has to be 300 words. Prompt, hit it, and then it's spit out a letter that, with minor edits, I've kind of used and has gotten published. So I've used it in that way. I've used ChatGPT to help me you do brainstorming for different things, and it's just been a tool that I haven't relied on it on a daily basis, but it does. It has been something that I've used sporadically. And so what happened is that over the past year, with the different sort of periods when I would use it, um, the Chat GPT software itself is just sort of like um, anything that you sign into. Like, it kind of keeps a record of the type of prompts and things that I've asked it. So it sort of, in a way, has learned who I am, what my name is, where I live, that I run an architecture firm, that I have business development ideas and such. So it's learned, the AI has learned sort of who I am and what I'm about to some extent. So I only say that because if this is something that you're going to do and you've never used ChatGPT, the answers that you might get and so forth might be a little bit more generic. So that's where I'm going with that. So basically, what I did to do this life mapping exercise is, and I'm going to try to screen record this. So I don't know how to do that yet. So I'm just going to describe it first, and then I'm going to try to splice it in and see if this works. So bear with me a little bit, but let me uh, go into this. So I basically told ChatGPT, I said, and I'll read it verbatim what I told it. I said, "You are going to help me map out the rest of my life. I'm going to tell you some of the major highlights and things that I want to achieve in life. You will ask clarifying questions until you are sure that you can map out the next 25 to 30 years of my life. Include the mindsets I will need to have, the habits I will need to adopt, and the type of business accomplishments that I would have to hit." And so then ChatGPT sort of responds in a kind of personalized way. It says, "I'm honored to help you map out your life plan. Let's aim for clarity and alignment with your personal values, ambitions, and belief. Below are a few questions to clarify your vision and fill in the gaps so that I can create a roadmap for the next 25 to 30 years." And then it gave me six areas, 7 areas rather, with questions. And I'm not going to go down all of them at the time. I'll try to put a screenshot so that you can sort of see what it's asking me. But basically, personal life and lifestyle, health and wellness goals, professional and business goals, impact and legacy goals, milestones and bucket list, mindset and growth philosophy, and then relationships and community. So those 7 sections, each with a few bullet points, with questions that Chat GPT had for me. And so then I just started kind of tackling each one of those sections and answering questions and sort of filling it out. So this whole process, the sort of dialogue back and forth between myself and the Chat GPT, Um, took me about an hour, maybe a little over hour and a half or so, and so, for example, it asked me about my family. So I sort of described, okay, I'm married, I have three kids, so on and so forth. These are their ages. This is what we do. This is some of our, and then it dove into that section a little bit more. Well, how do what are your educational goals for your children? How do you feel about this? Or what are you, so on and so forth. So I went down that process, and what was very useful about it was it really forced me to sort of begin and to continue thinking about things that were um, important and what my priorities were, what my thoughts were, what I really wanted out of life. And so that process, like I said, it took me about an hour, hour and a half. And by the time we kind of went through that and I answered all these questions, at the very end, I asked ChatGPT, I said, okay, based on what I've laid out, like, are we missing anything? Is there anything that, um, are there any questions that you feel that you want to ask me? Have we omitted anything? And it asked a handful more clarifying questions. So from there, once we were kind of set, I said, okay, move forward. So what the GPT did was it created a very detailed sort of phased approach to my life. It said, okay, phase one is going to be the next 3 to 5 years, and we're going to focus on these particular aspects of your life. I won't get into the specifics because it's not necessarily important to what I'm saying here. But it said, okay, in your business, in your career, in your family, your health and wellness goals, your mindset, and your personal growth goals, this is what you need to focus on for the next 3 to 5 years. The next 5 to 10 years, again, broken down into those sections. Focus on this. Focus on that. For example, in my business, focus on in the next 5 to 10 years. I want to focus on becoming going from the sort of day-to-day operations of my firm to more of a senior advisory role with junior partners managing the day-to-day operations of the firm. So, how do I build up to that? And then the next was like the next 10 to 20 years, sort of more broad, um, but providing a vision and sort of understanding of this is what it should look like, or this is what it could look like. And then it gave me some sort of like ongoing mindsets and habits, stuff that we all know, stuff that I kind of figured, but it's good to see it in a different way and in this format. So I got that. That was cool. And I said, okay, based on what you've laid out, now I'm talking to the GPT. I said, I want you to create a quarterly milestone tracker for the next 5 years. And I said, I understand you're going to have to make up stuff out of thin air, but assuming everything goes really well, give me the story of what happened to me, to my life, but in past tense, and give me every quarter like 2 to 4 major bullet points, like the highlights of each quarter for the next 5 years. And so what that does is now, as I review that, it's sort of mapping out a story in my head that I can believe is plausible and that I can sort of see like, oh, okay, this is how it could or would look, which I think is important because it's and this is sort of like a personal development kind of philosophical sort of mindset, but it's sort of like it's it's the visualize it before it happens, see the end, see the finish line before you run the race, all that type of thing, sort of like visualization as a way to move your life forward. So um, say what you will. I happen to believe that's very important. My life attests to that, and so that's kind of what that's what it did. So it lays it out. These are the next 5 years quarterly report. What's going to happen? Great. So then I took that and I said, okay, um, to do that, to sort of tackle that part of it, what daily practices and habits do I need to start incorporating? It gave me a really detailed list of about 10 things that I need to do, including creative output, including creating content, which I'm doing right now, and so on and so forth. And then you can take it from here. You can do whatever you want. Okay, based on the life mapping that we've set out, give me the top three goals. Or based on the life mapping that we've set out, Um, give me one sentence summary for each of the next 25 years. Just again, to sort of create this mindset and create this idea that I am importing into my head so that I can begin to sort of live it out. And and then um, and then the last thing I did, I said, okay, taking everything that we talked about, give me an example of three daily things that I need to do just for the next 2 weeks. I want actionable steps for the next 2 weeks. And sure enough, it's given me actionable steps for the next 2 weeks. And so I'm kind of in the process of doing that. And the this is relatively new, relatively fresh. But what I can say and what I can honestly report, sort of, um, you know, just getting into it, is a certain feeling of enthusiasm, a certain feeling of like, wow, this is kind of cool, and a sense of sort of motivation that like I kind of want to do this, I kind of want to do that. And without getting into too many details or anything, I've gotten a couple phone calls, I've gotten a couple people that have reached out and so on and so forth that oddly enough relate to what I kind of want to do or not. Now, you could ask, would that have happened anyway? Would, um, you know, who knows, right? I mean, we can't like run the experiment and go back in time and I don't do this and see if it happens, and I do it and see if it happens. So there's no way to test it, but it sort of begs the question of like, huh, that's interesting. Like, that is just interesting. Is that something that I played a part in creating? Did I put that energy out there and it starts to reverberate its way back to me? I will sort of leave it there. I mean, that's a good, um, that's a question that that there's no way of answering except going through it. So I would invite anybody that is watching this, give it a try. Whether you use ChatGPT and the AI and all this type of stuff to facilitate it, or if there's other methods that you have used or could use, I'd be happy to like talk about it and explore that and further. But basically, like I said, I did the intro yesterday of sort of what it is that I was going to do, and then I wanted a little bit more deeper dive today on the sort of mechanics of what I actually did. And you'll forgive me. I don't know how to splice video and stuff together yet, so I know I can think of if I was watching some other content creator as I'm explaining some of this stuff, there would be kind of the screen shots with my voice in the background and so forth. So we'll get there, and so bear with me. Um, but anyway, just wanted to sort of give a next day update and continue talking about it. And so yeah, thanks.